Hello everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now it's been a long while since I posted anything, but I want to take this opportunity to help the data science community yet again. So now I'll start reviewing some of the resumes of some freshers and some experienced folks so that we can understand what are the gaps that are there in these resumes and how we can improve them. Now, all of the suggestions that I give here are entirely my personal opinion. There are few things which can be subjective. So I wouldn't say like there is this one ideal way of making a resume or a CV. There are always some things which will depend from person to person, which will vary from person to person. But yeah, I hope everyone can learn something and make get something useful from this video. So the one that you can see here is a resume of a fresher, as you can see, who has graduated in 2024. He was kind enough to um, agree with me to share his resume for this review. So first of all, as you can see, the file name is It's My Resume. I mean, I think he was obviously not um, going to give such a file name when he is going to upload it for a job interview. But in general, it is always best to maintain this kind of a naming convention where you have your first name underscore last name underscore the position you are applying for. That is the best way to name your resume file. Next is he has written as aspiring data analyst or data scientist. Now, this also, I don't think this is a very good idea to write aspiring this or that. Personally, I would not use something like that, but yeah, again, this is something which is very subjective. So um, I will leave it up to you guys to decide whether you want to keep it or not. Next comes to the location. Again, this will vary and not always it is a relevant thing, but there is no harm in keeping that. You can keep your contact number, you can keep your email address, but make sure that the email address is professional. LinkedIn, again, you can put your LinkedIn account URL here, but make sure that you have your name in the URL instead of just a bunch of numbers which comes by default. It is always best to create your LinkedIn profile URL where you have your first name and last name in the URL. It looks much more clean and professional. GitHub, again, you can give it here if you have like important information, if you have good projects in your GitHub, you can definitely put it here. For this particular candidate, he has put his educational details at first. For a fresher, I think it's okay, but for experienced folks, I would always recommend to put the educational details at last and put the technical information like technical skills and project information on the top because that's what we are most interested in. But for a fresher like this candidate, I think it's completely fine to put the educational details in the beginning. Now, one good thing here, as you can see, that he has put in the BTech information first and then 12th and then 10th. So we should always try to maintain this order where we put the most recent education at first and then we go one by one in the past. We can mention about the school and university, which is also fine. But we also have to make sure that the indentation is aligned for all of this information. Otherwise, it looks a little bit unprofessional. So make sure we don't have such mistakes. And there is also a spelling mistake here. Spelling mistakes in CV or resume looks really, really bad. So this is something really easy to fix. So make sure you don't have such mistakes in your CV or resume. CGPA is something which you can mention if you feel quite confident about it. If you feel like, okay, I don't have really good marks or really good grades, feel free to mention them at all. like not mention them at all. Next, comes the technical skills, which is all right. This fresher candidate has mentioned a lot of technical skills, which I feel like excellent and quite relevant to data science as well. Um, One small thing I would suggest here is again, the indentation and spacing is not identical, not uniform, so this can be corrected, and after that, it will look much more nicer and more professional. And make sure whatever skills you mention, you are able to answer some questions from it, because obviously the interviewer is going to ask some questions from these modules, from these programming languages and whatnot. So make sure you are not writing something just for the sake of writing something and you don't even know what that actually is. Next, so yeah, that's what I have put as a comment here. Next comes the internship experience. So this candidate has some internship experience. He has talked about it. Now, he has written, in this internship, I have learned core Python, SQL, machine learning, data pre-processing, to study the data analysis, exploratory data analysis for identifying general patterns in the data, which include outliers and features of the data that might be unexpected, which is fine, which is good for explaining the project or explaining what you did in the internship. But I think it can be made a little bit more precise for your resume. So you can just put across some points, key points, like what projects you did, or basically in two line you finish everything like these are the skills I used and these are the projects that I did. Because here you see, like, he has again talked about uh, building machine learning model and whatnot, a successfully developed classification model to predict whether it's bankruptcy or non-bankruptcy. Again, he talks about it here in this project. So it is repeated information, and we would not want to have repeated information in one page of CV or resume. So instead, we can make this section a little bit more precise. And anyway, we are going to talk about the projects um, in the next segment. So that is the only suggestion here, that yes, these are bullet points, but again, it is looking a little bit off. So um, the overall suggestion that I have for this resume is to work on the alignments or work on the fonts so that everything looks uniform and aligned and coherent in the document. And for the project, yet again, so one good thing is he has mentioned about what all machine learning models, machine learning algorithms he used. He also talked about the problem statement, which is good, but again, it can be made a little bit more precise. So problem statement at first, which is fine, but again, a little um, subheading can be given to this, like problem statement and algorithms used, and then evaluation metrics is which metrics which was used, that can be mentioned. For the next project as well, he has mentioned all this stuff, but again, here he has mentioned about the evaluation metrics that he has used, but not for this one. So yes, for both of them, we should mention what metrics were used or what was the best performance arrive, what uh, which the candidate got from this exercise can be mentioned here. And again, the machine learning algorithm that was used here can be made bold. So the goal is to make both of them have same formatting, and that will look much more professional. Moving on to the next segment, which is certification. So, certification is really important for freshers, and relevant for certifications is really very good for getting a job interview. So, yeah, this looks really good. But once again, I would suggest you guys that you guys have enough information or knowledge about these particular skills, because you can definitely expect some questions around these skills, around these topics, if you have mentioned, like, I have done these certifications. So, yeah. Other information, of course, sometimes people talk about languages and other interests. Interest, machine learning, AI, data science, these are very wide topics, and I don't think writing them is a very good idea. Um, some people like music, swimming, this and that. I don't think that is relevant either. So I'm leaving it up to you guys whether you want to mention about your interests or not. Languages, sometimes it can be relevant because let's say we have a client in France, and there someone who knows French can be uh, quite useful. But yeah, I mean, this is just an example. I'm not saying that only the foreign languages are of more importance than what we know. But yeah, I mean, most of the times it doesn't really matter what languages you know. Mostly in our professional environment, we will be talking in English, sometimes, maybe sometimes in any other local languages. So yeah, again, this actually is subjective whether it is needed or not. I don't put it anymore because obviously I have a little bit more experience in the field now, and for me, mostly the projects and professional experience is what people will look for. But yeah, this is something you can keep or not keep. I don't think there is much harm in not keeping this. So yeah, all in all, this is quite a decent CV, I would say, for a fresher candidate, and I hope you guys also got to learn something from this video. And yeah, that's all for this day, guys. Hope you guys are learning a lot about data science these days, and that's it for the day today. Meet you guys very, very soon. Bye, guys.